Roosevelt children who knew every secret passage and hidden alcove in the 20,000 square foot residence. She had been there when Thomas Roosevelt II made his first billion in hedge funds, there when his wife Beatrice had her nervous breakdown after their second child, there when young Caroline took her first steps across Italian marble floors. Mrs. Chen, Caroline used to call her even as a toddler, mimicking her mother's formal tone. Mrs. Chen, tell me the story about the Jade Emperor again. But that was before the incident, as Margaret had taken to calling it in her mind. Before the accusations, before the tears and screaming, before Thomas Roosevelt II had looked at her with those cold grey eyes and said, "You're no longer welcome in this house." Now, 3 years later, Margaret sat in her small room at Sunset Gardens, holding a letter she had written but never intended to send. The paper was expensive, her one remaining indulgence, ordered from a traditional Japanese papermaker who still practiced the ancient art of washi. The characters were written in perfect Mandarin, each stroke a testament to the calligraphy lessons her mother had insisted upon in Taiwan so many years ago. "To the Roosevelt family," it began, and already Margaret could feel her heart racing. "There is something you should know about the night of March 15th, 2021. But before we reveal the contents of that letter, dear reader, let me take you back to the beginning, back to the day when Margaret Chen first set foot in Roosevelt Tower, back when she was still young and full of hope, back before she knew the true price of keeping certain secrets. It was 1979, and New York City was a different beast entirely. The Roosevelt family hadn't yet built their tower. They lived in a mere mansion on Fifth Avenue then, and Margaret was a recent immigrant with excellent references and a desperate need for work. She had arrived at the Roosevelt's door on a rainy Tuesday morning, her credentials clutched in a plastic folder to keep them dry. Thomas Roosevelt, the current patriarch's father, had interviewed her personally. He was a different sort of man than his son would become. Older money, old world manners. He had offered her tea in a Wedgwood cup and actually waited for her to take a sip before beginning the interview. "Tell me, Miss Chen," he had said, "what do you know about discretion?" It was the question that would define the next 4 decades of her life. Margaret had looked down at her teacup, watching the leaves swirl in the amber liquid. In that moment, she thought of her father, a banker in Taipei who had lost everything protecting his clients' secrets during the financial reform